in tonight's show, I didn't realize that I had mic problems. And so instead of doing the whole show over again and losing all that information, I will just let the show go on air as it is, but give a little disclaimer that the audio isn't the greatest on the mic. So please forgive me, and we'll do a better job next time. Hello, welcome to the Phoenix Lights Petroglyphs in the Sky UFO show. How is everyone doing tonight? The first episode of the year. Welcome to 2025. Can you believe it? And I tell you what, I predict it's going to be a mass UFO sighting this year. If things don't calm down in the world, then we should expect to see a lot more sightings. And, those of you who have been following me like all these years, especially within the last few months, know that I've been filming these lights over a mountain called Mount Lemon all of last summer. And, watching these things ever since, the Phoenix lights back in 2024 and seeing the pattern there and then seeing the day sightings at South Mountain in Phoenix, I realized that there was a pattern there. And so I kind of figured that these lights would be gone before the winter solstice, and I was correct. And I kind of figured that we would start seeing day sightings starting in January, right after the winter solstice. And, I have been seeing strange things going towards that mountain. But, when I see it, my camera is in the car, or I'm not able to get to my camera. But I have been seeing strange things out here heading towards the mountain. So I'll keep you updated on that. But check it out. Last night, I did film some more lights going over the mountain, and you guys are going to be the first to see this before it hits my YouTube channel, before it hits anywhere else. Those of you who are watching right now on these on the Roku platforms and other TV platform stations, you're going to see it first live, and then it's going to be on my YouTube channel. I believe it's Tuesday at 11 a.m. That's when it's going to be premiered. But you guys are going to be the first to see it. So, hello. Thank you again for joining. My name is Jeff+woolwin. I'm a ufologist for over 20 years now. I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been seeing strange things in the sky ever since I was a kid. That's what made me go out on a hunt, on a quest to find out exactly what was going on in our skies. Didn't go off of hearsay. Didn't go off of books. Didn't go off of someone telling me, oh, big old spaceship went over the city March 13th, 1997. But yet there's no video of this. There's no evidence. Hello. Okay? If something doesn't make sense, then it's not credible. And I'm telling you, I was out there. I was born and raised in Phoenix. I was outside that night, March 13th, 1997. And I can assure you that I didn't see anything flying over the city of Phoenix. But we have people writing documentaries and people doing lectures and writing books and this hearsay of going on of this alleged craft that went over the city March 13, 1997, known as the Phoenix Lights. And to me, in my investigations and in doing this for many, many years, there's not one shred of evidence of anything flying over the city of Phoenix. What we do have is evidence on the west side of South Mountain. And are they in the V shape? No, they're in an arc, and they're just hovering there. And this is what we can prove. We can't go off of hearsay. Okay, we need evidence, all right? And this is what the evidence suggests. And why do we have these videos? Oh, and by the way, there's only 4 videos of this mass sighting of thousands of people seeing the lights, right? But there's only 4 videos. And why do we have one of those videos? Is because there were sky watchers out there that night, March 13th, 1997, waiting and looking for lights because they were filming lights before that, weeks and days prior to 1997, March 13th. They were waiting for it. And yes, they did get it. They got them what really happened on the west side of South Mountain. So my point is if anything would have flown over the city of Phoenix, then surely these sky watchers would have caught it on camera because they were ready for it. But yet, no videos. To this day, it's been over 20 years, and to this day, no evidence of anything flying over the city of Phoenix. Not a spaceship, nothing. Just hearsay, people trying to sell books and movie tickets and misleading the public just to get fame and fortune. And I don't think that's right. So I'm here to tell you what is really going on because I've been seeing them since I was a kid in Phoenix, Arizona. I did the history, I did the research, and you know what? I was the first to prove that the Native American petroglyphs carved around the Valley of the Sun are talking about UFO sightings. I matched these sightings, this UFO sightings, to this rock art that's carved over 1,000 years ago by the Hohokam Indians. No one in history has ever done that. Also, I was the first to film jellyfish, what's now called jellyfish UAPs, over the mountains of Phoenix, Arizona in 2005. Way before Ancient Aliens, way before the UFO Hunter Show, way before any of these people were even a thought of being on a show like that, I was out on South Mountain doing my investigations, calling down a Native American shaman to teach me about the true and correct interpretations of the rock art. And I sat there by South Mountain for many, many years, and I watched these things come and go from the mountain. And I hiked the mountain. I understood who the Hohokam people were. I found a lot of petroglyphs. I found so much evidence of this. A lot of this you can find in my books. And, this is the reason why Pat Uskert of the UFO Hunter Show came to me in 2005 when he had this idea for the UFO Hunter Show. But back then, he called it UFO Road Trip. All right, this is way before, it was even on the History Channel. And he asked me to do an article for UFO Magazine, and I gladly obliged to do that. So I wrote a 7-page article in UFO Magazine in 2005. And then later on, he asked me to be involved with the pilot for the UFO Hunter Show and Ancient Aliens TV series. And I eagerly agreed to do that. And so I took him up on the glyphs. I took him up on South Mountain to show him the glyphs, and we matched the UFOs. And then later on, when the show actually aired in 2007, about a year after it aired, so in 2007, the full crew show then came back to Phoenix to do the episode called Arizona Lights. And I was there presenting my evidence to the world. This was my time to show the people what was going on here. Now, I was making the news reports, and I was doing a lot of news investigations and things, news interviews and things like that for years, right? Ever since 2004, when I was filming the lights over the city of Phoenix, I was making the news then. And then when I went to South Mountain in 2005 to actually see them in the daytime, I successfully matched them to the rock art. And this was a whole new concept of the Phoenix Lights. Up until that point, nobody was talking about the glyphs. No one was proving anything connecting the petroglyphs to the Phoenix Lights and to UFOs. So whenever my discoveries came out to the public in 2005, that's when everything hit. I was making the news. I was doing news reports. I was doing interviews, radio interviews, and I also did a few other cable TV shows. Also, The Proof Is Out There, True TV, things like that. So my point is, when in 2007, when I'm doing the UFO Hunter Show, and I'm trying to tell the public, I'm trying to tell you guys through the show, look, this is spaceships and technology, that's fine. But I believe that there's something else here, because I discovered this a long time ago. All right, 2 years before I was doing the show, I discovered these UAPs, these jellyfish, what we call jellyfish now. Back then, we called them tadpoles or serpents. I still like to call them serpents because they look like flying snakes, some of them. Quetzalcoatl, that's what we're dealing with, folks. And so I was trying to get my point out. I was trying to, to get this credible information out. I even had the history of Phoenix, Arizona, and the first park ranger backing me up, but this wasn't good enough. They were telling me that because of my discovery, the public was not ready for this yet. And so they're saying it's just a theory, it's just this and that, just Jeff's interpretation, but I knew I was right, man, because this is what's really here, And so I had to wait 20 years, all right, over 20 years, for the public to now start seeing what's now called the jellyfish sightings. And, that just irked me. And then in the process, what it did is it allowed other TV shows and other ufologists to basically, take my work for their own gain. And it shouldn't be like that. We all should be working together on this, not in competition. And that seems to be what's going on here in everything that we do nowadays. And that's just wrong to me. We're all supposed to get together and present our evidence and our data and join forces, but it's not. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and whether in ufology or ghost hunting or anything you're doing, and it shouldn't be that way. But anybody who looks up my name, Jeff+woolwin, on the internet, you can find out that I first started filming these jellyfish back in 2005. I am the original source. I am the original source to the information of the Phoenix Lights. I was talking about the petroglyphs and what their true meaning is and what they really are. Because, like I said before, there was no evidence of a spaceship going over the city of Phoenix. And but all we had was these lights. Well, history talks about these lights, and I've seen these lights, all right, up close and personal for years now. I've been documenting. And I can honestly tell you that this is not spaceships. This is not something, alien technology, another planet, okay? This is something completely different. I believe, and history backs me up on this, that these things are alive. These things are living creatures. This is not technology and things that we understand, okay? Our understanding of this was lost thousands of years ago. This was erased from our memory and not talked about. Okay, that's because of their history, right? And their history tells us what is really going on here. This is the reason why the government will never come clean and tell you what exactly is going on, because this is a scary thing, right? This is not aliens. This is not technology. This is not nuts and bolts, all right? And they're surely not here to help us. And that's the scary thing about it all. So, they're going to blow smoke up your butt, and they're going to tell you, hey, this is technology, and they're here to help us, and all that. No, this is not what history tells us. Now, if I thought that it was, then I would say that, right? Because I went down, when I first got into this, I went down the same road as everybody else. I'm thinking, this is great. We're being visited by ETs, another world, Alpha Centauri, crafts. This is great. This is a miracle. Well, it is a miracle. But it wasn't what I was thinking that it was when I was doing my investigation. When I doing my studies on this for years, all right? I watched them. I understood them. I understood how they were reacting to certain things and how they were following the sun, tracking the seasons, following the seasons throughout the time. Following the sun, coming and going from these energy sources such as mountains with fault lines. So I was the first one to discover all of this. I was the first one to say, look, these things are absorbing energies. Look, these things aren't alive. Look, these things are carved on the rock. So I was killing it, man. I'm telling you. I was breaking a lot of barriers here. And, my last lecture, if you guys seen that at the Tucson MUFON meeting, that show there, the Petroglyphs UFO show there, I'm telling the public, look, you are 20 years ahead of these other ufologists, because they're not talking about the energy, they're not talking about changing and anthropomorphs and connections to the rock art, any of that, and the history. All right, so you're 20 years ahead of everyone. I didn't realize that at the time. When the UFO Hunter show was telling me that I can't say, living creatures or entities or light beings or anything like that, they said, Jeff, the public isn't ready for that yet. If you're going to talk about these things, you must say spaceships, you must say crafts, because that's what the public understands. And that really, I'm like, dude, this is something else here. And so basically, in a way, they kind of robbed me of my discovery. Now all these other people are stealing my work, and we won't go into that. But, I mean, you've been following me enough years. You'll understand what I'm talking about here. And but, yeah, that's where we're standing today. So now, 2025, all right, 2025. I'm starting to see lights out here again. I'll keep you updated to that. And go ahead and scan my QR code right there at the bottom of your of the screen there. That's my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that, and you get all the latest sightings and a bunch of other goodies up in there in the descriptions of each video. So, without further ado, let's get this ball started. So, let's talk. Oh yeah, so they're talking about the UAPs, man. Look at this. Look at this jellyfish. Now this is what the government. This jellyfish here was filmed by an Air Force or somebody, a military pilot. All right, and you watch this thing flying across the sky. This is a famous sighting now. And then this carving here, this is the type of stuff that we're dealing with here on these mountains. And the archaeologist likes to call them anthropomorphs because they're changing shape. They're shape shifters, and that's exactly what's going on here. They're changing shape. And so... Yep, can't get rid of the green screen. Oh, well, we will continue. Okay. And so anyway, and that's basically what we're dealing with here is something that's alive, something that is not a spaceship. It's not anything that we can comprehend right now. But eventually the public is going to have to accept this because that is what's here. And we're going to talk about a lot of this here in tonight's show. We're actually going to show some petroglyphs of what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. Let's look at this one glyph here. So this is a petroglyph that's on what's called A Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona. And look at this here. I mean, this explains it all here. We have a man here, and he's looking up. What is he looking at? He's looking up at a flying snake. And look at this over here. See this? Jellyfish, maybe? Jellyfish sighting? Uh-oh. See what I'm talking about? This is what's going on. See, the Native Americans, they've already documented this stuff for us. They've already told us what to look for, what not to look for, blah, 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 blah. When it's going to be here, when it's not going to be here. I'm telling you, they've documented all of this already. And they didn't have video cameras back then. They had stone boulders to record their sightings in the spaces where the event took place at. I can't stress more enough about this. When you see a glyph here, but you see no glyphs over there, that means nothing happened over there. It happened right here where the glyphs are depicted at, are carved at. This is a prehistoric sighting, a prehistoric photograph of an event that took place right there. So this rock is telling us on A Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona, that many serpents were seen in the sky above this mountain, and it's carved right there. Look at the orb there. You see that little orb right there? So much is going on with this panel, all right? And if I thought it was spaceships, if I thought it was aliens from another planet, man, I'd be telling you that, But I was going down the same road everybody else was going down until the evidence was taking me somewhere else. And then I was seeing it for myself, and then I was connecting the dots. And it totally took me on another path, another journey. And I've been on this journey for over 20 years now, trying to get my information out that, look, this is something different. This is the evidence here with the petroglyphs, with the ancient scrolls that we read. Because we can read about these things in ancient scrolls, and then we can come out on the rocks and see the prehistoric photographs of what these scrolls are talking about, and now we can see it for our own eyes in the skies today. That is the 3 points of credibility in my mind. Not hearsay, not stuff that we can't prove, not because someone's trying to sell you a book with non-credible evidence, whatever, all right? Well, spaceship, 1990s. No, dude. That never happened. Only in the minds of people who are trying to sell books and make movies and trying to profit off of the Phoenix Lights. Not what's really going on. And that's why I'm here today trying to explain to you guys. And I'm so glad you guys are here watching, because you are here for the truth. You are here for the answers. And I'm here to give you what I have personally saw and documented for my own self. And I'm telling you, this is what's going on. Okay, without further ado, let's get going, because I can talk about this forever. And I do. But I can't, because I'm under time here. There's so much to talk about tonight. Okay, let's get on with this. What's this here? Okay, now look at this here. This is on South Mountain. All right, look at this carving here. This is a very interesting petroglyph panel here. Okay, first of all, let's start off here. You see this guy here? He's got this magical staff weapon, it looks like, and he's shooting up at what looks like a serpent man in the sky. Half man, half serpent. Okay? See that there? And then we have some other Indians here, right? And they're shooting bows and arrows up at something that's in the sky, which is gone now. Go figure. But then we have these serpents here. See all these serpents here? Look at the orb. Oh, there's a light orb, or an orb in the sky that we're seeing today, folks. That's right. That's it. Then we have the coyotes looking up at the orb and the serpents in the sky. Now, this is on South Mountain. All right? This is what occurred here. This is why South Mountain is so special. This is the reason why these entities continue to visit this mountain, continue to visit the Valley of the Sun, is because of the fault lines. I can't stress this enough. The energy, the position of the sun, and what I explained in the last UFO show at the Tucson MUFON, that was the first time I brought this evidence ever to the public, with the neutrons and all the other things that are going on there to attract these beings to collect this energy. All right, and this is what's going on here, folks. This is what's really going on. They're after the energy that these mountains create, okay, from the fault lines. This is the reason why you see them, hanging around volcanoes and things like that. It's because of the energy they're absorbing. And it was really cool because back in 2000, last year, when I was filming the lights over the mountain, we could really get an idea of what was going on, because they would come in, and then they would get real bright over these areas, right? And then they would dim out, okay? And so we knew that area there, that was the energy. Boy, they're sucking up. And they all would get bright in the same area. Two would come from different directions. They'd go right over that area. They would get bright at the same place. So right over that canyon, right? So these canyons, the Native Americans are talking about doorways, all right? So the spirals, again, let's talk about the spirals. When they're going clockwise, it's a doorway in. When they're going counterclockwise, it's a doorway out. And when the spirals are ending at like this crack of the stone, that is the emergence point. That is the doorway. When the Native American was teaching me this, I was thinking to myself, oh, how can a big spaceship craft get into a little crack like that? How can they get into a crack going into the underworld? And that's what they say, they're going down into the underworld. Until I saw it, until I actually witnessed these things come down out of the sky and absorb themselves into the mountain. Yes, I know this is crazy. This is another reason why the people who are in charge of this will never tell you what's really going on, because this is not normal, all right? This is scary stuff, all right? This is stuff that our brains right now just can't comprehend, but this is what's really going on. So when the Native Americans say that crack is the emergence point to the underworld, believe it. That's it, because this is true. This is no longer a legend. This is no longer a story. This is fact. They know what they were talking about. What better yet to understand what the hell's going on in our skies now? It's from the first people who lived here in the United States, who saw these things before us, documented them, and told those stories, right, through the oral traditions and their rock carvings. All right, they're telling us the rock art is meant for us. It's for our generation. All right, because now we are seeing them. We're seeing them heavy. All right, so we need to know what is going on. All right, so we are not. Let's just put it, because I'm not going to get into it right now. You can find it in my books. We need to know what is going on, so we are not, what happened to the Hohokam Indians, because Hohokam is a penal word for the people who were missing, the people who were gone, the people who got taken away. Because they were here for 1,000 years, and all of a sudden they up and vanished, all right? With no trace of them. Archaeologists wants us to believe, well, they simply moved to another place because of drought. Well, there's no evidence of where they went, all right? But the oral tradition and the rock art suggests something completely different, okay? We'll go into that maybe in another show, but you can find that in my books also, what happened to the Hohokam Indians. Right now, we're talking about rock art. Look at this. Okay, this is a perfect example. Okay, see this? See how... Now, I took this photograph. This is on South Mountain on Holbrook Trail. All right, South Mountain, Holbrook Trail. He was the first park ranger of South Mountain, and he knew about the lights, and he knew about the Mayans being here along with the Hohokam Indians, over 1,000 years ago. And when they left, all right, they buried gold. All right, so basically Charles Holbrook, the first park rangers from the early 1930s to the late 1940s, was in charge of protecting the gold tombs on South Mountain. How did he know about them? Well, not only finding them for himself, but also from the Native Americans at that time who trusted Charles and told Charles that, look, this is what happened to the Hohokams. Right? This is why we see altars out there for sacrificing. The same stuff that was going on in Mexico is the same stuff here. I mean, why not? At that time, Arizona was a part of Mexico. So it only makes sense that their tribes and their cultures and their religion, if you will, would follow over into this land. Okay, and I really believe that they followed the lights here to South Mountain much like I did. That's how I found South Mountain, is I followed these lights to the mountain. That's what brought me to the mountain, was the Phoenix Lights. I was put here to tell you what is going on. I believe it. I believe this is my destiny. I can't think of anything else. I don't believe anything is just coincidence. I believe everything happens for a reason. And so we are here today to get the story out, to get the story straight, because I have crossed my T's, I have dotted my I's. I have been on South Mountain for years. I have hiked that mountain from one top to the bottom. I have documented the petroglyphs. I have uncovered the story of Charles Holbrook and the lost city of gold on South Mountain, and Charles Holbrook and everything that has been buried for over 80 years in the public library. I have uncovered all of this to bring to you. All right, so I want you to understand what's really here, and to go out to the mountains and now, and see the stuff for yourself, because this is what's happening. This is what's going on. This is evidence. This is credibility. All right, back to this panel here. I told you I can go on forever on this. All right, back to this panel here. So, for one, look, so I had to climb up high. This is high, and this is the reason why I took a picture of the sky in the background, okay? Because I just don't want the audience to think, well, this is just a panel 5 feet off the ground. No, this is high up on a cliff, all right? You have to look up, all right? So one way to understand the petroglyphs is you have to understand the landscape, because the artist is putting the landscape and the surrounding areas in with the art. So he didn't have a camera, all right, but how can he tell me and you that he saw something in the sky? Well, he's going to carve it in the sky. So that's why it's high up. That's why we have to look up, because he wants you to look up in the sky and see what he saw. And what did he see? He saw a flying serpent. Not a crab. Jellyfish, right? Millipede, right? Look, there he is, and there's his goat. His goat don't care. He's seen these things all his life. He's over there eating grass. But his owner, okay, that's him. This is the guy who carved this. That he put himself in with the art. He's trying to say that him and his goat saw a flying snake right here. Okay? That's what's going on. How plainer can you get? Right? How much more evidence can you get? It's not just myths and legends and stories, these petroglyphs, dude. Now, some mountains with petroglyphs, not all mountains are holy mountains. Some you'll see they're talking about ceremonies or hunting and gathering and things like that, But it's the mountains with the spirals and the anthropomorphs, the change shifting, the weird-looking creatures, the weird-looking beings that we see. All right, that's the mountain. Those are the mountains that are holy and sacred. All right, and those are the mountains that you want to look for when hunting UFOs. Here's another glyph here. Okay. So, before we get into that, let's talk about what was filmed. I believe it was in Japan. Oh, wait. Let's look at this. Okay, yeah. So, let's take a look at this sighting here. Now, this is crazy. This is really crazy here, right? Look at this. Let's watch how this thing moves. Look at this thing. Look how it's moving in the sky. You see that? I like to call this a dragon. All right? This is filmed in where? Japan. Look at that. Is that crazy? This is what we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. This thing here. All right? And how do we know that this isn't a balloon? Well, let's go ahead and stop this for a minute. Let's go ahead and stop it here. Now look at this. Look at this piece here. You see that? Look how it's separated. Look how it's separated from the others. All right? Okay? Now watch what it does. Watch closely. See how it merged back together? Let's watch this again. Look at this. Look how it's shape-shifting. It's anthropomorphing. The exact stuff we see on the rocks is happening before our eyes right now. Look, look, look. See that? See how it separates? And then it gets back together. All right? No balloons do that. Balloons, they go crazy. They go up in the sky and they're waggling back and forth. They're just crazy. No. This is the stuff that we're looking for, ladies and gentlemen. Something that is in control. All right? And it's alive. All right? This is scary stuff. Okay? If I thought it was spaceships, aliens from another world, I'd be talking about it, man. I'd be up all over that. But I discovered these things here in the United States in 2005. And I'm here to tell you that this is something different. I've been saying this ever since. Look at that. This is scary stuff, okay? This is why the people who are in charge are not going to talk about this. Are not going to tell you what's really here, right? So they're monitoring. They're watching what's going on and how far they get because they know what happened last time. Look how it's all solid there on the bottom. Then when he zooms back in, look at that. See that? Look. See that? Okay? That's not normal. Right? I'm telling you. Right? This is real. Okay? I've been doing this for a very long time. I know fakes. I know CGI videos. I know what airplanes and everything else and flares and all. I've been around the block many times, okay? I am the expert in this, okay? I know what is going on, what is real and what's not. I have people every day sending me pictures of lights in the sky or strange things, and I'll be honest with them. Look, sometimes they don't like it, but look, if I think it's a planet or an airplane, I'm going to tell you. But if I think it's something, I'll be all over it. All right, just like with this one. This is crazy stuff. Look at this. Man, I just love that sighting. Okay. Woo! Heavy, 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 deep stuff. Not everyday nuts and bolts spaceships crafts, okay? That's all fine and gravy. Okay, now I'm not saying that they're not real, because I have seen things in the sky that could resemble a spaceship. I've seen black triangles. I've seen jacks flying in the sky. But it doesn't make it a craft, right? Because that's what we understand. We understand technology. We understand nuts and bolts. We understand UFOs or spaceships, because we build spaceships now. So we understand that. That's what we can comprehend. But now we're talking about something completely different. And, you know, they just don't want to cause a mass panic here. You know, oh my God, these things are, especially with the history of them, you know, and that's the scary part. That's the scary thing, you know. So look at this. The Holocom saw these things before us over 1,000 years ago. They carved their sightings. We've already proved that. And then they disappeared, right? So now we're seeing the lights. We're seeing these things, right? So what does that say about our future, okay? Ufologists aren't talking about that. Ufologists aren't talking about living creatures and energy and fault lines and sun and equinox and solstice and I'm telling you, we are way ahead of the others, okay? All of this is going to come out probably in another 20 years, which is sad. But I'm so glad you guys are here today to actually realize, you know, from a credible source, what's really going on here. What's going on? What is this? Okay, those are the lights. All right, before we get to that, let's go ahead and show you. So, like I said, I was the first one to film these UAPs, these what's called a jellyfish sighting. And so the first time I filmed it, I took it to the news. They made video of the day. And this was like a type of spider. And so in this sighting, you're going to see the full sighting. You're going to see the news, and you're going to see the full sighting. And then you're going to see on how these things actually use energy. I showed this in my last show. I'm going to show it again for those who have missed it, because this is important. This is new stuff. This has never been documented before. This has never been seen before, and this is credible stuff. And we can actually see on how this UAP uses its energy, how it's able to harness this energy to propel itself through the sky and keep itself in the sky. This is the first time that this has ever been done. We now know how these things fly in the sky. So let's
right around the corner too. But here's some entertainment headlines you need to know.
The newsroom. Here's Mike Chamberlain.
Tonight's video of the day comes to us from South Phoenix. Jeff+woolwin took this home video of something rather odd in the sky. The black object appears to be about 8 a.m. one day last week when it swoops and moves all over his apartment complex, and he lives near 40th Street and Baseline. At first, we thought it was a black plastic bag, but Jeff says that it was the size of a Volkswagen, and it holds its shape the entire time that it is on camera.
Absolutely silent. No heat from it. I think the reason why some people might have not noticed it is because it didn't make any sound. It was very silent. And it was cruising.
So if indeed you know what it is, why don't you visit us on www.azfamily.com and let us know what it is. It's a big mystery over the skies of Phoenix again. Happy birthday to Jeff.
Was that amazing or what? Was that crazy? Man, I tell you what, that was something. And you know, I took out the audio because I'm freaking out. This thing is flying by my window, and what the hell is that? Oh my God, I'm freaking out. So to not embarrass myself, I took out the audio. But I tell you what, that thing, it crossed in front of me, and then it zigzagged. When it goes past the window sill, it's going over these palm trees, and then when I'm aligning the camera to try to get them to go over the palm trees, it's zigzagging in front of me when I'm setting up the camera, and then all of a sudden it shoots in front of me and goes over South Mountain, and that's when I start filming it. Well, you know, I'm trying to tell UFO Magazine, because I'm doing you know, an article for them, and I'm doing the pilot for them for the UFO Hunter Show and Ancient Aliens, and I'm like, dude, you know, what about this? Okay, you know, well, the public isn't ready. Okay, can you just at least, you know, put it in the magazine for me, you know? And that's what I did. So in this magazine here, I think it was 2006. I think that's the copyright. 2006. This magazine here, the UFO magazine. I sent him. I emailed him like, dude, look. You know, I said, thank you, UFO magazine. Look at this. Okay, and they published it. So this was the very first published. I guess you would call it a jellyfish. They call them jellyfish now, but back then I called it a spider. And some of these, the next sighting you're going to see is actually like a serpent, and that made the news also. And so this was the very first documented UAPs jellyfish ever. And it was coming out of Phoenix, and it was filmed and discovered by yours truly. Let's go ahead and take a look at this flying serpent and the news report.
Some video that happened daytime.
Yeah, Mike, as you know, we do get a lot of strange videos here at 3TV, and you know, we get red dots, blue dots, all shiny objects, all kinds of stuff in here. But this one, well, just take a look.
I noticed this object that seemed to be leaving the mountain.
We've met Jeff+woolwin before. He spends hours every day scanning the skies and the mountain in South Phoenix for mystery objects, and he gets a lot. But this one, captured in April, is really bizarre.
It seemed to climb up at kind of a high altitude, roughly about maybe 1,000 feet. I don't believe any balloon would be walking in the sky like that, and it actually changed directions. It was going west there for a while, and then it seemed to make a U-turn and start to come right over the apartment complex.
Woolwin calls it a tadpole, a shape he found not only in the sky, but also in a book about ancient Hohokam petroglyphs on South Mountain. Petroglyphs he's seen with his very own eyes.
That's telling me that the prehistoric people that first settled here in Phoenix more than likely saw these things in the sky also, and the only way to record this was to carve it on the rock.
expansive horizons, meeting the sun as it sets, your intentions deep within rise.
Let's go ahead and take a look at what I filmed over Mount Lemon. Let's take a look at this here. So this is the very first, you guys are going to see this first. We don't have a lot of time here. But look at this. Look how these lights are moving in the sky. You're seeing this very first. This happened, well, let me look at the date here. Okay. This happened on the 18th, right, of January 2025. Right? These lights are going over Mount Lemon. And I'm trying to get it in focus there, but you look at this triangle here. See that there? So these lights are back. Now, whether or not they are going to continue to keep coming back like they were every night last summer over Mount Lemon, I don't know. So I'm going to keep watch. And it came in an earlier time, too. Because when I first noticed them last summer, they were coming in at midnight in May. And then by the time October rolled around, they were far east, coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I couldn't chase them anymore. It was just getting too early, and they were getting way far out of town. So I stopped filming them in October. But now they're back here, and they're more over, like, they're more west, okay? They're not completely on the west side, but they are west of the antenna lights that I was talking about in my last lecture, my last UFO show. So, and they're coming in at 6:30. I noticed them at 6:30. So you can see the full sighting without my mug in it coming up on my YouTube channel and in a few more days. And so keep watch for that. It's a premiere video, so keep tabs on that. And you're going to be able to see it in the next few days without watching my UFO show here. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? Look how they're flying information. Okay? Isn't that crazy or what? You're seeing this first before anybody else, before it hits my social media, on my Facebook channel or YouTube. So I wanted to save this for you guys so you guys could see it first. And so last summer when I was filming them, they were there for an hour. So they would come in like in May, and they would show up around midnight, and they would be gone at 1 o'clock. So it was just massive, massive fleets of orbs just coming in and absorbing that energy. So I don't know exactly when this started. So I was alerted to this you know, so in 2004, I'm filming the lights, okay? And I noticed these little white airplanes were watching the lights also. And I thought, hey, this is great, you know. Someone else is documenting this too. Well, yeah, they're documenting it, but also they're trying to get them out of the area, right? So what I was paying attention to when I was filming was these lights, or excuse me, these airplanes would circle high up in the sky over this power plant that's bored down into South Mountain's fault line, and that power plant was turned on at the time. So these lights were attracted to this power plant, right? And these lights, these airplanes would come in. As soon as the lights would appear over the power plant, these lights would come in, and these airplanes would try to shoo them away, try to get them out of the area. Now, sometimes it would work. Sometimes the airplanes would leave. Well, excuse me. Sometimes the lights would leave because of the airplanes, but other times the lights, they weren't there. They weren't having it. They would stay there, and the airplanes would have to get away from it. I've even had a helicopter come up to these lights and then have to get away. And so that's what kind of alerted me. You know, as I was hearing this airplane hanging around my apartment, and for the last couple nights now. And the first night I went out there, I didn't see anything. I was looking for something, but I didn't see anything. And then last night, I heard the airplane again. So I went out there and I looked over the mountain, and sure enough, I saw this flash of light. That's all it was, right? Just a flash of light. And that's how they start. And I'm like, oh my God, I saw that. That was my hallucination, okay? I saw a flash of light. And I watched the airplane come over my apartment, go right over to that area where that light was, and then circle back over to my apartment. So whether he was trying to tell me that the lights are back or see if I was paying attention or not, thank you, Mr. Airplane. I called him Light Patrol back then in 2004. My son and I, we used to call these airplanes who monitor the sightings out there Light Patrol. And so thank you, Light Patrol, for letting me know that there's a sighting going on at Mount Lemmon here in Tucson, Arizona. Because if it wasn't for you flying over my apartment and me hearing you, I wouldn't have walked out to the porch and noticed that light. So yes, the Light Patrol told me that the lights were back here at the mountain. Okay. You know, we are running out of time. So my next show, I'm going to talk about my next show because I don't have time to show the next part. There's like this thing that's going on within the naval tribes, especially in Mexico, where these people are flying around on this on ropes. They're high up in the sky and they're flying around on ropes. And you know, looking at this has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's like a type of ritual that goes on, and we're going to connect that to the petroglyphs that are on the mountain. Now look at this. Have you been paying attention to this? This light was way up there. Now it's starting to come down. Look, it's going to go right down behind the mountain. All right. If you've been watching that light, it took a while. He dropped out of the sky, and now he's coming down behind the mountain there where those canyons are, where the energy source is. So yes, in our next show, we are going to be talking about on how the Native Americans still practice this type of, I don't know if it's like a sky dance. Okay, they put somebody high up on a pole, right, and then they dangle them from this rope and they swing around in the sky. Okay, and they actually call the man up on top, they call that like a spirit, right? It's crazy stuff. You gotta see it. Make sure you tune in our next show right here on the Roku channel or Google TV or wherever else you're seeing the show at. Make sure you tune in to that because that's going to be a great show, and we're going to talk about that. And I found some petroglyphs that kind of match to that. We're going to talk about that. But now we are running out of time, and we only have about 8 more minutes left. So we're going to continue to watch this sighting. Look at this thing. Look at that. Look at that thing. Is that crazy or what? It's just insane. So these lights are back. And, I was really expecting to see, day sightings, but now we're seeing, the lights are back now, after the winter solstice. Just like what I predicted. I kind of figured that we were going to start seeing these things again, after the winter solstice, because they were going to go away, and then they're going to come back in January. Because that was the pattern in South Mountain. So I was seeing the lights in 2004, in the summer of 2004, and then in 2005 the lights were gone, but yet I was starting to see day sightings on South Mountain in January. So I was thinking it was kind of a pattern here. This is a whole new mountain, and so all you can do is study and watch. And so I was floored when I was starting to see the lights return over the mountain there last night. But I have been seeing strange things going towards that mountain on the west side, this black object. And my wife and I was at Walmart, and my camera was in the car. We just parked the car, and we're heading towards Walmart. And I'm always watching the skies. I'm always looking back at the mountain, and I saw this black object, right? And he wasn't acting like a helicopter or an airplane. And I'm like, hey Pam, look at that. What do you think that is? She's like, well, it's probably a balloon. But then she goes, well, it's not acting like a balloon, and it's heading right towards the mountain. So yes, I think the day stuff is happening now. It's not as much right now. I think maybe whenever we get to at least like March or April, I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of day sightings. But until then, like I said, this is a new mountain. It's complete. There's an airplane there. You can see him blinking. That the lights are back now. We're starting to see them. So I'm thinking now we're gonna continue to watch the lights. I don't know. I'm gonna go out there tonight and see if they're back. Watch all of this on my YouTube channel. Go ahead and scan the QR code there to get you to my YouTube channel. Find me on Facebook. And let's talk about UFOs there. The Phoenix Lights, petroglyphs in the sky. It's all one word. My name is Jeff+woolwin, and I'm going to leave you with this sighting. And we will see you next time. And have a great new year. And keep your eyes to the skies, because you never know what you are going to see. And we will see you guys next time. I hope you have enjoyed the show. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.